Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Vendo Velocity. This is episode 180, and today we're diving into TikTok Shop growth and talking all things strategy, Halo impacts, holiday planning. But I want to introduce first and foremost a powerhouse guest that I have asked to join me today. Bryan over at Cruva. He is the head of partnerships there. So, Bryan, if you could go ahead and just introduce yourself to this audience, that would be great.
Yeah, how's it going, everybody? My name is Bryan. I am head of partnerships at Cruva. So currently leading, anything that is related to agencies, also doing brands, and just helping the growth of the platform. We're an affiliate outreach tool that helps basically scale your TikTok shop operations. So whether you're an Amazon seller or you're a Shopify, any type of seller or agency, we help you scale on TikTok Shop. So we're the quickest way to basically get your affiliate operations going and automated.
Amazing. Yes, Bryan has been behind some of the fastest growing TikTok shop brands out there and helped a lot of brands scale from zero to even, I'm sure, multi-million-dollar velocities, not just at his role here, but also on the TikTok shop side of the business. So you have someone who is on the ground there working closely with TSPs like VENDO to launch. So Bryan, we're going to go through a lot of things today, but first and foremost, I want to talk about Halo impacts, right? I want to start with how a lot of brands are still treating TikTok and Amazon as completely separate ecosystems. But we as Vendo are seeing some really strong crossover Halo impacts of both platforms. As you know, Bryan, and as our audience knows, we manage brands across both Amazon, TikTok Shop, and of course, Walmart.com. And we're seeing that performance on TikTok Shop impacts performance on Amazon. So can you walk through that with us as well, Bryan, and just speak to why you should look at the ecosystem more holistically rather than focusing on silos?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, that's one of the hardest metrics to crack. It's how to actually track that effectively, where you can actually see that change. I recently saw a study that Work Magic put out. It's a great study if everybody's seen it. They're basically they did a case study, and 33% on average is the halo effect that TikTok Shop has for Amazon. So that's a huge number. At the end of the day, I think Amazon captures intent, but TikTok actually builds that awareness, and it's a discovery platform. So you should treat them both. It's like a very different, but at the same time, they kind of come together as the same as an effective strategy for selling, for discovering new products. When you want to test out a new product, I think TikTok Shop is the perfect place to do it. You should not sleep on that. I think TikTok is a place where you can focus on a couple of SKUs. You don't need to maybe put your whole inventory the way that you have on Amazon. But I think it's a place where you should definitely test out new products, test out new things, new deals. If maybe sometimes you have a product that's not selling on Amazon, you can try it out on TikTok, run some great, affiliate ops on it, or run some GMV max campaigns on it. And it's a really good way to just kind of have a new playing field, a testing ground for your products. But at the end of the day, one out of three TikTok purchases are still happening outside of TikTok. And I know TikTok won't want to hear that, because at the end of the day, that what they're trying to do with Shop is keep it in an all closed loop. But the reality is that people may discover it on TikTok, but they're still going to go to Amazon, or they're still going to go to a D2C website to actually purchase the product. So for a brand, it doesn't really matter where the sale is coming from, as long as the sales are increasing. And Work Magic proved that there's a 33% halo effect with Amazon, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, that is actually crazy. We actually spoke to Work Magic right after that because we were baffled by how high that percentage was. But to Bryan's point, that's exactly how we're messaging this to brands as well who are interested in launching on TikTok Shop, who are now on Amazon, is that Amazon is where you capture that demand, but TikTok is where you create that demand, right? And when content hits on TikTok, we consistently see an increase in branded search on Amazon, higher click-through rates as well on sponsored brand ads, because you're driving that visibility from TikTok, and you see similar creative that brought the brands onto Amazon to begin with. And then you see some improved conversion rates on PDPs, because you could utilize some of that content that you had on TikTok Shop for Amazon as well. So Bryan, I want to talk a little bit about the offer specifically, because you highlighted that a lot in your commentary here. And we've seen that be incredibly impactful in terms of, if a brand isn't going to TikTok Shop with the correct offer, they are not setting themselves up for success. So highlight that a bit more in terms of what does perform well on TikTok Shop and what are things that you should be looking out for, maybe in terms of price point, or in terms of bundle offerings, exclusivity. How important are all these things?
Yeah. I mean, bundle offers are great. I think people love a bundled offer. Um, as far as price point, I think the $30 to $50 range is still the sweet spot for TikTok Shop, right? Because it's an easy purchase. However, I've been seeing, I mean, when you look at the numbers, Shark Ninja or Ninja, Ninja Shark,
Yeah.
they have like $250 products that are selling like hotcakes. And I'm seeing now for the holidays, like
Yeah.
Christmas trees that are $200. Like these big AOV items are selling really well. So I think TikTok is changing now. The landscape is changing where it's not so much about the $30 to $50 range. But I think overall that's still going to be that easy, scalable price point, especially if you offer a nice promotion, like a nice discount for TikTok specifically. I think that users will love that. And yeah, I think hero SKUs started out being, when I was at TikTok, it was all about hero SKUs, how like you should start off with one product. And I still do believe that, especially for like a new brand coming on, you shouldn't just put in your entire inventory on TikTok Shop. You should kind of treat it like a playground where you're doing maybe 3 months testing on this one product that's like your hero SKU, right? And then once you see that go up, and then eventually it's going to plateau, that's when you can introduce your next product. And so you can kind of treat it as this thing where you're constantly optimizing and testing new products for TikTok Shop specifically. I think that's a good strategy to kind of get started and not overwhelm yourself and like the algorithm with like a million products that you can't focus your attention on every single one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great point. And we've even seen a lot of brands have strong success launching on TikTok Shop first and then translating that over to Amazon specifically. So again, as Bryan said, like testing and learning on TikTok Shop, is there proof of concept here? Am I building up enough demand to where now I've almost built up brand awareness on Amazon for this product? CPCs are going to be lower, and there's naturally, again, that halo impact. So it's not a one-to-run one ROAS model either. You're really building the momentum and fueling the engine of TikTok Shop so that it has effects on Amazon there. That's a great point there, Bryan. Well, let's talk a little bit about this affiliate strategy that you've highlighted, since we know that that is the most crucial part of TikTok Shop success. I want to get back to Shark Ninja in a little bit because I think that's an interesting case study on price point specifically, but just overall on affiliates. This is where we're seeing a lot of brands either explode or flatline in terms of sales. So what's working right now for high velocity growth when it comes to affiliates?
Yeah, I mean, I think affiliate at the end of the day, 90% of TikTok Shop sales comes from the affiliate operations, right? So I think it is the bread and butter, but it is changing, and we need to, as brands and as agencies and as platforms, understand and kind of keep up with those changes. And so what we're seeing right now, I think the old spray and pray where you're just wasting 1,000 samples per month on trying to get creators to post videos. It may work if you have a product for it, but at the end of the day, I think you need to be more precise with it, and you want to be more targeted. Shameless plug here, but that's where like Cruva can come in and help with that automation of touch points with creators. First and foremost, when it comes to the affiliate strategy, of course, you need to be able, I think brands need to understand when they're coming onto TikTok Shop that it's not going to be your typical, running ads that are going to do it for you. It's going to be seeding samples to creators. And what that means is you got to have at least a budget of 100 free samples that you can ship out to these creators so that they can post videos. But it's not only just shipping the product, it's also following up with them, right? Doing those different touch points, making sure that they understand exactly what to do when that product arrives in their hands. So that comes with like a creator brief, that comes with a message, that comes with maybe grabbing their email, their phone number to put them into a Discord. I think we're seeing the affiliate strategy change to where brands want to have their own communities of creators, right? They don't want to be paying these big percentages to companies like Taps so that they can be they squeeze out the margins on getting access to creators, where brands can actually just build their own community of 100, 200, 300. And of course, agencies like Vendo can help with that to where it just makes them have like their own network that they can tap into at any time for any new product release, and they're not giving up 8%, 10%, 30% of their sales on other channels.
Yeah, absolutely. Bryan, for those that aren't familiar with TAP, why don't you go ahead and explain to them what TAP is and what some of the benefits are, and then highlight again, as you just did, maybe why a brand wouldn't enroll in TAP and work with a TAP
Yeah,
agency.
so a tap is just TikTok. It's a TikTok affiliate partner, right? So I think taps are great because they help you scale. So what it is, it's basically an agency or a company that has a creator community. So they have communities of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and so brands can tap into those communities. And so that they can tap into those communities to use that network of creators, right? And so what they're doing is they're giving up, for example, if they're doing it, if a brand was to run an open campaign on TikTok Shop on the back end, they would probably give up like 20% to a creator. But if they're working with a tap, they'd probably want to give up like 25 to 30% to make it more enticing, right? To make it more enticing for that network of creators. And of course, the agency gets a small little cut. So I don't think taps are the problem. I think taps are actually really great to scale. I think the problem comes in when there's when maybe not a problem, it just depends on your margins, right? If you're a big brand, it may
Yeah.
not matter, but if you're a small mom and pop, sometimes there's these creator communities that are charging flat fees, so they're almost guaranteeing you that they're going to provide these sales for you. And so what they're doing is they're either charging you per video, like $150, $100, up to $500 per video, depending on the creator status. Or they're just doing a pack. Hey, we'll give you 10 creators. These creators are going to post 10 videos each, and it's going to cost you 15,000, 30,000, whatever the case may be. And so again, I'm not saying that doesn't drive results. I think it can, but I think that brands should start off first you doing their own affiliate strategy, right? Maybe tapping into a couple taps through the TikTok platform partner center on the back end. But they're going to want to grow their own creators, because that's how you're going to have longevity, and how you're going to be able to kind of keep up with with the game as we scale, as TikTok Shop grows.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's circle back a little bit to Shark Ninja, right? You pointed them out. That's one that we've had on our radar for a while. Again, Vendo doesn't directly manage them, but we're seeing a lot of success there, right? They have a ton of brand awareness. That's one aspect of, I'm sure, their success. But on top of that, they are investing deeply into their affiliate strategy. Bryan, what I want to pick your brain on is really some agencies are talking about how you could just stick to commission rate alone and you could scale your samples and you'll have success, right? We know well that that is not the case, and that you do have to get creative with tiered commissions, co-branded content deals, as you said, building up your Discord community. So talk a little bit about what you think is fueling Shark Ninja's success. I'm sure maybe you guys aren't working with them either, but you have assumptions on how they're getting more creative, strategic, and innovative with their affiliate pipeline as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think for one, you're right. I mean, I think a company like that, you can't just give out $200 products to creators, right? So you need to come up with a different strategy. So what I think the strategy is and I think I've been seeing it with like the PlayStation and the Oculus now too. You can tap into networks of creators that already have those products at home, and so
Yeah.
what you're doing is you're offering them an incentive, maybe like a GMV incentive, a contest, which you can actually run through platforms like Cruva as well, where you can build these contests up of, hey, if you sell 2,000, in GMV, we'll send you another Shark Ninja, or we'll give what you start running these contests, or you start running these um, retainer campaigns as well. Like, hey, creator, if you post 5 videos with this ninja, we'll send you another $150, or we'll send you an Apple gift card. And so you're enticing him in a different way, and that's where I think retainers and where I think contest and gamifying it a little bit with the creators is going to work. Because you're right. I mean, a brand can't just be giving out $250 Shark Ninjas, 200 of them, 100 of them a month. That's not gonna be sustainable. And so brands are getting creative and kind of tapping into creators that already have that product in their arsenal.
Absolutely. 100%. Turning customers into affiliates, as you spoke about, Bryan, such a great way to leverage your existing database, right? And TikTok Shop, because you have customer addresses, there's an additional unlock there for you to be able to do direct mail, for you to be able to track LTV at a deeper level. So these are all mechanisms that we wish we had more information on other platforms specifically, but they don't give you that same type of information, where a lot of brands on TikTok Shop are leveraging Shopify. So you have an unlock to some of that additional data to where you could turn existing customers into affiliates as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Bryan, let's talk about Cold Start, right? Because I think that a lot of brands get super intimidated by the TikTok Shop platform, and then all of these agencies, including Vendo, are telling them, well, one of the most important things that you have to do is get out of cold start as quickly as you can, because it's hard to scale when you're in cold start. Talk to me a little bit about that. What is cold start, and what is the cold start playbook specifically?
Yeah, I mean, cold start is definitely the hardest part, I think, of getting started. I think people give up, right? If when they don't see quick results there. And I think TikTok Shop is a platform where you need to give it at least 3 to 6 months to start seeing those results that you want to see. Um, to get out of the cold start phase, of course, because I mean, I believe even to use affiliates, you need to have a couple of sales under your belt before you can even tap into the affiliate network. So what I recommend, and I've been recommending this to I talk to a lot of brands, a lot of agencies. For brands to get out of this cold start phase, they can use there's two softwares or two companies out there that I think can be a good way to kind of get out of it. The first is Celico. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Celico.
Yes,
And
we are.
so if you give them a budget, they basically help you purchase products and kind of keep that momentum going. But it's not organic sales, right? So another strategy that you can implement is there's a lot of UGC companies out there. One being Join Brands, for example, if you're familiar with Join Brands. And so what you can do with them is you go to Join Brands and you almost like guaranteeing that you're going to pay for videos, you're going to run a campaign with Join Brands, and that campaign is going to help you get out of that cold phase organically. So you're going to have a couple hundred or a couple thousand in sales before you start tapping into. And what that does, it builds credibility not only with the customer, but also with the creators, because creators are going to want to work with the brand that has no reviews or that has no sales. And so that's where these two companies can help out with tapping into that. And of course, you can also just build your organic page. I think what people kind of fail to understand, or they kind of don't think about too much when it comes to TikTok Shop, is that the organic identity and the brand image still matters. So having a good your main page still having the founder led videos, having organic creators posting that are not shoppable content, but they're just building this brand image and promoting like the main page, still kind of important to the overall. When we're talking about like holistically looking at TikTok Shop, you want to have everything. You want to have the affiliate engine on, but you also want to have this scaled and up to date main brand page with good videos and catchy videos as well that can organically get sales, right? Or through ads get sales.
Absolutely. So, Bryan, you spoke a little bit to 90% of affiliates is really where TikTok Shop is looking at in terms of their total sales, right? 90% of sales are driven by affiliates specifically. What do you think is a healthy mix for brands? Because oftentimes what you get as far as pushback from brands is, hey, if we're going to expect 85 to 90% of sales driven by affiliates and we're paying commission on all of those sales, we are now pretty thin in terms of our margins. Of course, when you talk about halo impacts, etc., the conversation looks a bit different. But do you feel that 80 to 90% of affiliate sales is where brands should aim for? And if they're at like 50 to 60%, then that just shows untapped opportunity on the affiliate side of the business? Or what does that mix look like?
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, yes. I think in the perfect world, TikTok would want it to be an even distribution of ads, affiliate, and live, kind of all running simultaneously. Live is picking up, right? They're like at 12. I think they make like, I don't know, 12% of the sales or some. I don't know the exact number. But I still think having a good affiliate strategy, like if you don't, because at the end of the day, when you to run ads on TikTok Shop, you need to have a lot of content, because it's all GMV max now. And so in order to have a lot of content to run on affiliate videos, you need to have a lot of affiliates doing videos. So the recommendation is always volume when it comes to creators. You need to have, you know, 70, 100, 200, 1,000 videos pumping with creators, and then running GMV max campaigns on that to kind of spread it out. And maybe a video that got no sales in the beginning, when you start running GMV max campaigns later on, will kind of pick up and get sales for you later on down the road. So I would say affiliate is still definitely the should be the focus for TikTok Shop, as of now. Again, it could change, but as of now, it's still number one.
Absolutely agreed there. Now, let's zoom a little bit into the setup of a successful TikTok shop. What does a high performing TikTok shop ecosystem actually look like?
That's a good question. Um, for most brands, I would say it obviously starts from the beginning, right? Making sure that the listing is correct, making sure that you have enough inventory. A lot of people run into inventory issues and then they start getting violations, which then is going to be detrimental to their growth on TikTok Shop. So I would say making sure that you're optimizing your product correctly, making sure you're focusing on a couple of SKUs, making sure the listing, the description, everything is kind of tailored for TikTok Shop. That it's fun. I feel like TikTok Shop is you want to grab people's attention in the first 5 minutes when it comes to the videos, to the page, to the affiliates. So you want to have a good creator brief for these creators. You want to have a nice hook, a call to action that's quick, that's enticing. And then when it comes to the affiliate strategy, of course, like I would say before you even think about Cruva, before you even think about optimizing this affiliate strategy, think about, is my shop optimized correctly, and is it in a good place? Of course, get some few organic sales so that you can have success with affiliates, right? And then when you tap into the affiliate network, the key there would be to basically just, of course, always have a constant engine running of gathering more affiliates, following up with these affiliates, making sure you're grabbing them and creating these networks with them. And then also running contests and running retainer campaigns, and just build it, making the creator feel important. I mean, because they are the drivers of this ecosystem. That's kind of what leads to success on TikTok Shop. Once you have enough of that network and you have a constant pumping of videos, then you can think about running GMV Max campaigns. And then while you're doing all of this, I would also recommend tapping into live. I think it might not be this huge potential, and it maybe sounds scary to kind of test out or expensive. But if you're running it a couple hours a day on your main page, I think that all it does is going to drive more awareness, and it's going to drive maybe a different audience. It's going to tap into a different audience in the algorithm that might not see it. Because at the end of the day, there's 170 million users of TikTok Shop, of TikTok. And remember when at my time at TikTok, the stat was that every user spending an average of 90 minutes on the platform every day. So that's a movie length. So
it's just brain rot, Bryan. That's just brain rot. That's crazy.
90 minutes is crazy.
Time. I know, right? But I'm probably right there with him. Yeah, no, that's 100% all so accurate, Bryan. I'm so glad that you highlighted a lot of the fundamentals too, right? Because I think that's another thing that some people miss is things like inventory, things like setting up your listing properly, getting reviews. People try to skip to the affiliate part first without having the infrastructure set up first. So again, success on TikTok Shop is not built on luck alone of just spraying and praying and finding the right affiliates by luck alone. It is building the infrastructure, looking at how you're optimizing your listings, but also building out a CRM. And that's really what I want to highlight as well about what Bryan had said is that you want to create not just a CRM of affiliates of all the creators that you've seeded, but you also want to track their sales, any relevant content hooks, any sound trends that you're seeing, right? Any types of engagement that are more unique within those specific creatives, right? This is where you can really use your R&D lab with all of the previous examples that you have, and then look into a tool like a Calodata or a Fastmoss to look at what is performing well across the category as well. And then the last thing that I'll touch on, just because, again, we started this conversation with the halo impacts, is you need to focus on your cross-platform integration as well. You shouldn't operate TikTok Shop so differently than you do an Amazon, right? You can sync your content on TikTok Shop with Amazon more manually as well. I'm sure that there will be tools where you can do that more automatically later, but things like your brand store, where we know during the holidays, 10-15% of sales are driven by an Amazon brand store, you should be utilizing some top performing UGC that you have rights to on TikTok Shop on Amazon. Your sponsor brand video content, you should be using that on Amazon. You know that this already works well. You know engagement is higher. Why wouldn't you speak the same messaging across the board in terms of visuals, in terms of price point, and in terms of the offer in general, to build that synergy again and have even more of a halo impact on the platform.
And to your point, also like Meta, I think like making sure you get those usage rights and running ads on Meta and using some of those affiliates for other channels, not just Amazon and TikTok. At the end of the day, you should be tapping into all the channels.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we would be remiss not to talk about the biggest season of the year, holiday. right? So let's end on that and let's start to talk through Black Friday, Cyber Monday on TikTok Shop. We saw all the record numbers from last year. I'm sure we'll beat those even more this year. But holiday playbooks, Bryan. One, are brands too late to the game right now? Should they have been prepping earlier? Or, and if they are, what can they do right now, considering Black Friday is, 2 weeks from now, to prepare themselves for this peak event on TikTok Shop?
Yeah, I think it is too late to kind of to get that momentum going. But if you're late to the game and you just want to kind of throw all your eggs in the basket right now, I would say seed products as early as possible. So you should start seeding your products like yesterday, making sure that those creators are getting them to in their hands, and making sure that you're seeding. If you were seeding 100 products in October, or sorry, in like the summer, you should be doing 200, 300 right now for this November, because it's the time where, you, like you said earlier, I think the record last year was, I think they made like 100 million in Black Friday. So I'm assuming, just based on the growth this year, I think it's going to be a lot more than that, which I don't even want to guess what it's going to be, but I know it's going to be crazy. And then also making sure that you have enough inventory. I've just seen it so many times where stores run out of inventory, and that just it kills momentum, and it also just damages the reputation of the store, or the relationship with the creator. So making sure you have enough inventory, but also making sure that you're seeding products like now, I would say, for creators.
Absolutely. Yes. A lot of brands are participating in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but not many have the ability to orchestrate that demand, as Bryan has just talked through there, right? So the earlier you could seed the creators, the better, but also then you need to move into the conversion mode, as he just spoke about. Limited time drops, early access bundles, countdown content. How are you really building urgency around the offers that you have exclusively for this event? Urgency converts, and we've seen that on TikTok Shop time and time again. So yes, 100%, Bryan. Thank you for all of those insights. I want to hit you with a few quick hitters, right? Just a bit of a rapid fire to close here. What is one KPI that you think every brand should be tracking on TikTok Shop?
I would say the sample to set, like sample to conversion ratio, like making sure that the creator receives a sample and that they're actually posting with that sample. That's something that brands should track, and make sure that they have a good understanding of, okay, I'm seeding 100 products, but I'm only getting 2% return or 1% return. That should be more up to like 5%, if you're optimizing and have a good thing going on.
Awesome. And then what do you see as the most common mistake that brands make on TikTok Shop?
Giving up too early. I think you need to give it a couple of months to see the full going back to the beginning of our conversation, to seeing that halo effect, and to seeing the scalability that you can drive with TikTok Shop. It just takes one viral video, but to get that one viral video, you need content and you need time.
Absolutely. And then my last one, and I think I know your answer to this. What is one underrated growth lever for brands to achieve success on TikTok Shop?
Yeah, definitely using a tool like Cruva. You need to use Cruva to scale. I mean, we make it easy, and we automate it. I mean, we have a ton of brands now using us, and we're also global. So if you're a seller in Europe and wherever there's TikTok Shop, we're there, and it just really does make it so much easier to do all those different touch points, and to kind of keep up with this entire operations that are the affiliate operations.
Absolutely. Well, Bryan, thank you so much for joining me on Vendo Velocity today and breaking all this down. Guys, these are the strategies that actually move the needle for your brand. So please make sure that you watch this back and you implement some of this ASAP, because if you don't, you're missing out. And as Bryan had talked through here, a lot of the top brands are already doing all of these things. So make sure that you're focused on how you're winning this holiday season. You have the playbook for that, but even beyond this, right? New Year, New You is coming up for all you supplement and exercise related brands. The time never ends on TikTok Shop for you to be able to participate in these large events. There's more events on TikTok Shop than there are in any other marketplace. So you're not too late. You might be a little late for holiday, but you're not too late to participate on TikTok Shop and to win on TikTok Shop, most importantly. Thank you, Bryan, for joining me. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in a couple weeks on our next Vendo Velocity episode.
Thank you for having me. Talk to you later.